We've been on a tragedy front. Why can't you agree with me for once?
You gonna start?
You always start. This is your thing.
I want to start this time.
Okay, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, that's kidding. I'll start. All right.
Silly.
So today's video, we're going to bring up a topic that we originally rated. I think it's one of our last, but when we decided in the first video when we was doing our rating, we realized it should be number one, and that is non-negotiables. Now you can explain.
Non-negotiables.
Yes, you can explain what non-negotiables are.
Non-negotiables are, for me, something that in a relationship is just something you will not tolerate no matter what. It's nothing that you ever anticipate bending on or giving about. Like, no, that's it. We just not gonna do it. Something you just ain't gonna deal with.
Yes. So one thing that we did was just expressed our non-negotiables. I believe I had the first non-negotiable in our relationship.
It was not a non-negotiable, Nicholas.
I think it was a non-negotiable.
It was not.
Why wouldn't it be?
Because it's a situational negotiable.
My non-negotiable came from when we first started talking about getting married.
Yes.
Mrs. Pruitt wanted to hyphenate her name.
No.
Yeah, you did.
I asked, what if?
Oh, yes, you asked, what if I hyphenated my name?
Yes.
And my response, probably should have been a little bit more refined,
And it wasn't. You ain't gonna have no husband.
What if you didn't get married? Now, there was some more behind that. It wasn't just me just being like, you gonna have my name.
But it was. He never explained it. He just told me that's what it was and that's what it was gonna be.
I did explain it. I explained it years later. And the explanation was, I felt like when I met my girlfriend at the time and knew that she was going to be my wife, I want to take on that entire responsibility that came with being her husband and being the father to her children. And with me symbolizing that, coming in and taking on the total responsibility was giving her my name and not hyphenating the name. Hyphenating just to me seemed like it was like half and half. Like, yeah, you kind of in there, but, also not so much.
And for me, hyphenating my name would have been more so that if you know me, we're from St. Louis, I'm a Manning. Kanita is a Manning. And us Mannings run deep, honey. We run deep. Our genes run deep. Like, we just, that's just who we are.
So do.
But come on, he'll tell you, baby. We thick as thieves. So I was just like, Manning is my maiden name, and I want to be Kanita Manning Pruitt. And he told me no. Now, why? The reason I say that it's situational is because if I would have already been into my career, then of course I would have hyphenated my name. Just because who wants to be in a career and have to go around and change licensure and all those type of things? So that's why I say it was situational. He would have budged. But because I wasn't there yet, you would have, because you wanted me.
True,
you didn't want my name. Come on now.
I sure didn't want your name.
But you wanted me, though.
Yes.
Exactly. So he would have budged. But for me, I understand that is as attached as I am to my maiden name, Manning, I know how attached he was to his name, Pruitt. It's a lot that comes with the Pruitt name. It's a lot of strength and just strongness behind it. So I completely understood why. You can come out if you're coming out to see your friend. So I completely understood, why. Whatever. But on my Facebook page is Kanita Manning Pruitt.
Yeah.
Boom.
So that was one of like the first, like I said, initial, like playful, like lighthearted, non-negotiables. But we have some. Oh yeah,
Bitches.
We have some. Watch out now.
Sorry, y'all.
We have some serious non-negotiables that we have, made primary in our relationship. And I know Miss Pruitt got a lot to say on this, so I'm gonna let her go ahead and talk about some of her non-negotiables.
For me, my non-negotiables are like, if we in this thing, we in this thing. So for me, people get married. But one thing that I saw, not so much as growing up, because my grandparents were committed, like they were married, they were in this thing. But younger people wanting to get married because they just wanted to be married. Like, they just wanted the title of wife. Like, they weren't in it, though, to be in it. People get married and don't realize that it's work.
Cool.
Like, the marriage, once you're married, like the work, that's when the work starts. It's when you get married. That's when the dedication and the commitment comes into place, because being married is definitely, it's not for the weak. So for me, I get married to be married. Like this is it. Like, we can't, for me, a non-negotiable for me is we can't throw around divorce. We can't be like, well, you made me mad, I want a divorce, whatever. For me, that's a huge non-negotiable, because if we're in it, then we're in it. Like if we ever get to that point and we say those words, then we know that it's serious. But we just don't throw those words out to throw them out. So for me, a non-negotiable was be in it to be in it. If you're not gonna be in it, then go on about your business. That was a big thing for me, is that we in this thing, we don't throw around that word lightly. So it's no divorce. That's me. That's it.
No
None.
divorce.
You're stuck. Also for me, another non-negotiable for me is that I don't do well with like abuse. Don't put your hands on me. Like that's a complete non-negotiable. And he is not that type of person, but flat out, like, you put your hands on me, like, we're done. It's an absolute wrap. That's just something I grew up with, and just something that's just important to me, to not even venture off into that in your relationship.
But it's all types of abuse, not just physical.
Yes, it's physical, it's verbal, just no abuse either. For me, it's just respect. If we can't respect each other, then we don't need to be together. That's as simple as that. Like, respect is a must across the board, no matter what. I don't care how mad you get at me. I see people who get mad in relationships, and excuse my language, but they be like, well, then fuck you then, bitch. Well, no. We're not going to do that. We're not going to degrade each other because we're having a disagreement. We're going to still talk to each other with respect and go to our mutual corners. One thing for me, is that we don't leave mad. That's another non-negotiable. Like, if we get pissed off, we don't leave the house. You can go in that living room. You can go on that couch. You can go to another room. We got several rooms. You can go to one of those. But leaving is not an option. So those are just kind of some of mine. I know I've talked the first couple minutes. I'm going to zip my lips. But those are just a few of mine that we talked about when we first, decided we were going to do this thing.
So one of my non-negotiables is, at all times, you're going to respect me as your husband in how you address me. And that sounds a little bit chauvinistic, but let me break it down. I try to always do my best, even when I'm mad, to use the language to her that is that she deserves as being the woman that I want to spend my life with. And I asked, one of my non-negotiables, she do the same. So you can get mad all you want, but I can't be, you such and such, you raggedy such and such, can't be none of that. Now we can talk, we can disagree on the decibels that we're using, even though we don't go too loud. We can talk about the tone, but one thing that we're never going to have to talk about is the language that's being used to directly do nothing but hurt the person that you're talking to. I mean, because really that gets you nowhere. And if you're at that point to where you can't control it, then it's probably time to. So if you get to the point where you are using that type of language, the only thing that you're doing is just trying to hurt the person that you're with. And so if that's not your goal when you're not upset, it should be your goal when you're upset. So that's one of my non-negotiables.
Yeah.
One of the ones that we have that I don't think we ever talked about. I think we just always have done. We can be upset in the car, having a heated discussion, one that the kids don't even know is heated. So that's how we make sure that we I won't say shield our kids, but respect each other enough. We can have a heated disagreement in the car, but the kids don't know that we're having a disagreement or anything. But when we get out and we go wherever we're going to go, I can't remember a time that anybody has known that we have had something going on or we were disagreeing.
Yep.
Sometimes I know she said don't leave mad. Sometimes I've left mad. Good work, because you got to go make that money. And she come up to the job 20 minutes later, nobody can tell that anything's going on.
Nope, because it ain't nobody's business.
It's nobody's business. And from my thinking is, or the way I believe is that once you let people in, then that's when the trouble starts. So, wherever we've been, if there's been a disagreement or anything like that, we always make sure that nobody knows because it's nobody else's business.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's truly nobody's business. That's one thing that we've always agreed on, that what's going on between us is between us, and we've kept it that way. Now we've gone to other places to receive, of course, go to receive counseling and things like that, or you might have a good ear that somebody that is really just there to help you get over the hurdle. I'm not saying not get people like that into your business, people that mean you for good, but when you just going out and you showing folks that y'all having some issues, trust me, it's a lot of times that people that say they're happy for you, they're not happy for you. They get really happy once they see your downfall.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing you want to do is show them that there's a crack, even though you might be good at sealing them cracks up. Folks are
They
come
waiting.
to them like, ooh, you remember that time this, and what about that time that?
Yeah.
And all they doing is trying to break
They
you
really
up.
ain't for you. Pause that back.
Yeah. So that's one of the our big non-negotiables.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that I see people do all the time is they air their business on social media.
You welcome. She just said it there, and I was like,
Asshole.
right.
Hey, and I was gonna ask you for your phone number. I ran to.
We leave it. I'm playing too.
Yeah, so definitely a non-negotiable is putting your stuff all over social media.
Yes.
I don't know why people do that.
Because they want attention. They want to feel like they're right. So they want people to be on their side to say, "Oh yeah, you right," because you want to feel validated in the decision that you made. That's why people do it.
Yeah, so I'm telling you now, son, or whoever's watching this, keep your stuff off of social media. Lord have
Facts.
mercy. You can go to your cell phone and text message back and forth and let that be the social media between you and your significant other. You go to the text messages, I can't stand you, I love you, I don't know why you acting like this. Sin, that's going to go right to one person. Maybe don't type that, but yeah, keep it off social media. Now,
Yes, love.
can non-negotiables change?
Yes, non-negotiables can absolutely change because you can be with a person, and as you grow and you get to know the person that you're with, then sometimes things happen that are completely out of character. And so something that could be a non-negotiable for you will now give you a little wiggle room, because now you're like, I know this person. Is it the best thing they could have done? No. But is it the worst? No. So I think non-negotiables do change as you grow. Now some stay firm, but some grow according, I think, to as you get to know and get to learn the person that you're with. What do you think?
Yeah, I got one non-negotiable that 100% changed.
And what was that, baby?
So when we first got married,
Go
no, it was before. You know what I'm about to say?
I know exactly what you're about to say. Go ahead, baby. Go ahead and tell it.
So when we first started dating,
Mm-hmm.
somehow the topic of buying a car came up,
Yep.
and I said, I can't see myself paying for a car
That I'm not driving.
that I'm not driving.
That's exactly what he said out his mouth.
Now that wasn't like a sit down
Conversation.
like I ain't gonna ever pay for a car, but it was just in a statement.
It was a yes.
And the statement was strong enough to where it was, I don't see myself paying for a car.
No. It wasn't. I don't see myself. It was. I'm not. That's what it was. But go ahead. It was firm.
It was firm, but I don't remember I'm not. But anyway. So 20-some-year-old me, early 20s me, could not absolutely see me buying a car. However, I'm willing to say that non-negotiable did not last long at all, as I sold my truck and gave all the cash to my wife to buy one of the first cars that we got together that was just hers to drive.
Yep.
And even let me see, shoot, I bought my Caprice cash, but after that, every car that I bought has been for her. But really, the biggest example of that was me literally giving the envelope of cash that I had gotten for my truck, so that I could not only buy her a car, but then drive her. What was the name of that car?
I had a Cavalier.
She
I
had
had a 2-door sports Cavalier. That mug was fire. It was fire with Kanita with just the baby. but we were a growing family, and I needed an SUV. So
I'm gonna have to look up Turn Fire because that car was terrible to me.
it was not terrible.
Oh.
It was brand spanking new when I had got it.
It was like going from the palace to living with the peasants. I said, Lord have
It
mercy.
was a sports car. It was a 2-door. It was
It wasn't even sports.
It was considered a sports coupe, is what they considered it.
Okay, they was
They
trying to sell them
considered
things.
it was a brand. That car was brand new with 4 miles on it when it was purchased.
Now, when I drove it,
It wasn't, because I had it for several years.
several years.
When I got that car, shoot, Carlos was 3.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was 3.
She got no money's worth out of that car.
I did.
Yeah.
I got all my money's worth.
Yeah.
But I needed an SUV.
Hmm. So that was one of the first ones, and then I think just over time, what we've not been willing, or what we've decided we're not going to accept together, has created new non-negotiables.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we first got together, it was like, oh, you acting up? I'm out of here. I'm gone. I wasn't going nowhere, but I'm gone. I'm gone. We first got married. Cool. Hey, look, you got attitude today. Divorce. But we knew deep down inside we wasn't going nowhere,
Mm-hmm.
because we truly loved each other. So we just sat down one day. I remember vividly. I can't remember when. It was just like, look, we need to just stop bringing it up, because the more you bring things up, the more you bring it into the air, and I believe the more you make it easier to become a possibility. So we might have had a smaller list of non-negotiables when we first started dating, but it's grown a little bit. But I think what we've done is we've grown to make sure that we don't violate those non-negotiables.
Yep.
And really, that goes back to the first or the second video, which is communication.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that we can communicate, because I believe if I'd have sat her down, even though it was not a serious non-negotiable, if I'd have sat her down as soon as she said, I'm gonna hyphenate my name,
And explained it to me.
yep, and explained it to her, be like, hey, check this out. I've always wanted a wife. I've
Yep.
always wanted children. I've
Yep.
always wanted a happy home, and I wanted to
Yep.
be the one that was solely responsible for that home. So when I give you my name, that's a symbolization of me fulfilling that dream and being totally responsible for you and our kids.
Right. Which then that would have made sense to me. And I would have understood more versus what you ain't gonna do. Because one thing you don't tell Kenita is what she ain't gonna do.
Or what she is going to do. You just don't tell her nothing.
In fact, it's a recipe for disaster. Because at the end of the day, I do what I want.
Yeah.
But yeah, so absolutely, non-negotiables, absolutely, they do change and things happen. Excuse me. But yeah, just sometimes having that conversation and explaining why your non-negotiable is what your non-negotiable is. Like even for me, believe it or not, one of my non-negotiables used to be cheating. Like, you cannot cheat on me. I am done. I am gone. And it's still a non-negotiable for me, but as I have grown, I've learned to realize that, yeah, it would hurt, but there's 2 parties involved. And sometimes you have to sit down and figure out what happened. And I think even though it's still a non-negotiable for me, I would be willing to sit down and have a conversation about why it happened. Still non-negotiable. But I'm more so to listen than I would be. Just with him though.
Now that ain't a hall pass to go out.
No,
to do
that's
what
not a hall pass. That is not a hall
Ain't nobody
pass.
got time for that.
No.
But that just shows that, like, you can grow. So as long as if I can go back, so we did this in the second video, and talk to 20-something-year-old us, I would just say, have your list of non-negotiables, sit down and effectively don't just communicate the non-negotiables,
Yes.
but communicate why that's so important to you. Because I
Right.
think if you do that part, then your significant other is more likely to receive them and put more effort towards make sure they don't cross any of the non-negotiables. So
I just keep touching my head. I think I got bit by a bug just that dang on quick. That's why I keep rubbing my head.
Lord have mercy. So that's what I got for non-negotiables this week. You got anything?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything. I just think, just be upfront about what your non-negotiables are, because there's nothing like getting mad constantly in the back of your mind because someone continues to do something you don't like. If you're not upfront, then how can they know that that's a deal breaker for you? So I think like he said, communication. All this brings back to communication. If you guys communicate what your non-negotiables are and communicate, what you need and what you will accept and what you will not accept, then it's just, you're basically, in so many words, just saying, hey, this is the play-by-play on how to be with me, or the play-by-play of how to love me. I'm telling you what I need, what I expect. And I mean, that's how relationships work. You have to have that communication.
Yep.
That's it.
Right on. So that's it for this week, and we'll see you next week.
Perfect.
I don't want nobody else, not even a little bit. Ain't Shayna say you got me wrapped around your fingertips.